Hi Gemini, and welcome to your July predictions reading. Oh my god, I just got way too excited to see you. I might know some of you Geminis, some of you snakes. Anyway, for those who don't know me, welcome. We're going to be doing a July predictions reading. It is a general reading, so if you're looking for love-specific readings, I do have them on my channel. There's one up for your sign at the moment that will expire at the end, in the middle of July. I recommend that you subscribe and join the family, as I will be putting out an update to your love life in the middle of July until the end of August. So stay subscribed to be informed. Let's get into it, Gemini. I'm going to start your reading by pulling 3 cards from this tarot deck, which will tell us the 3 main themes your sign can expect to experience in the month of July. I'll then be clarifying with another tarot deck before pulling advice for you as well. Oh my lord. So your first theme is the 5 of Swords. Very interesting card in this deck. Have a look at that. 5 of Swords in the upright position. What is Gemini's main theme when it comes to July? We have the 9 of Cups. I love that for you, Gemini. What is Gemini's main theme? We have the 5 of Wands. So we have 2 5s, a lot of changes for you, but I feel like these are positive changes because I think that you're in control of this change. At the back of the deck, we do have the High Priestess reverse. So sweets, for some reason, you're having trouble trusting yourself. Excuse me. I just realized I forgot to do that. You're having trouble trusting yourself in the month of July, and it has a lot to do with you trying to avoid some sort of thing that you have a niggling feeling about. I was picking up on this in the last reading for you, I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly sure it was you, unless I'm getting you confused with another mutable sign. But it just feels like for some reason there's something here that subconsciously we know, but we're struggling to, in our reality, in our conscious mind, we're struggling to accept it. It's interesting because I see with your first card here that your head is in a very logical place and you're trying to change something in July that has to do with the way that you think and the way that you act. With the 5 of Swords, you're trying a new way of communicating here with someone in particular, but in general, I see some of you turning a new leaf with this 5 of Swords and choosing to walk away from certain conversations that are just like, ugh, this conversation is pointless. That's what it feels like. I'm like, this conversation is pointless. I'm going to go talk to this person instead, or I'm going to start a conversation over here instead. I just think that this 5 of Swords is you trying to turn a new leaf. Now, I see some of you guys getting frustrated with people who aren't giving you the answers that you want. I see some of you getting really annoyed with some of the conversations that you're having, and I don't think that this is something that would show up in any other signs reading. I think that it's shown up in your reading because you're someone that needs to be mentally stimulated, Gemini, and a major theme here for the month of July is for some reason you're not getting that, and so you're trying to find ways of getting that. You're trying to change your approach to conversations, your approach to relationships, to make them more exciting, more mentally stimulating, and to kind of help pique your interest again. I do see some of you developing a new interest on the process of you trying to kind of turn a new leaf. But let's see what tarot can tell us. Spirit, what is this 5 of Swords in Gemini's July energy? What is happening in July with this 5 of Swords for Gemini? So we do have the Ace of Cups coming out for you upright. What is this 5 of Swords? We have the 10 of Swords. That's actually quite poetic. The Ace of Cups to the 10 of Swords. What is going on here? We have the 3 of Cups upright. Anyway, that didn't really focus, but I'm not going to bring every card to the camera. I'm just going to hold it close enough for you to see. We also have the King of Pentacles. At the back of the deck, we have the 2 of Swords reversed. So I feel like this 5 of Swords is you trying not to dig a hole with your thoughts. You may have really kind of hit some sort of rock bottom in June when it comes to how your thoughts and the way that you've been thinking has let you get into a deep hole. You may have assumed the worst before anything happened, or you may have just found yourself feeling betrayed based upon you drawing assumptions. For some of you, you had every reason to feel skeptical and unsure. But for others of you, I really see you just trying to change the way that you're thinking in July to try to bring in some new opportunities here. And it feels like the goal over this area of your life with this theme is to kind of bring more social connections, trying to bring the right sort of friendships closer, the right relationships closer. It's more than just making yourself happy. It feels like you're just trying to make yourself more sociable, especially with this Three of Cups. I see some of you making new friends in July because you're changing your perspective and you're trying to change how you communicate with people. I see some of you really reaching out to current friends and trying to make an effort to keep communication open. It's like this is a part of your July energy. It's like, I'm going to turn a new leaf. I'm not going to assume the worst. If it's not worth my time though, if it's genuinely a very boring situation and it's not fun at all in terms of my mind isn't stimulated, then I'm not going to stand around and beat a dead horse. Excuse me, that's a horrible imagery and saying, but that's what it feels like. I do think some of you are really ending a tough cycle or trying to in July, but it feels like you have to constantly be aware of it and tell yourself, like, I'm not doing that again. You know, like you almost have the tendency to fall back into that old pattern, and you have to remind yourself, Gemini, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to start new. I'm going to start fresh. And I do see that with the Ace of Cups. I was picking up on a new beginning, and I'm seeing that you are going to be inviting new emotional opportunities into your life in July. This feels like friendship more than anything, but I wouldn't be surprised if this helps clear blockages in romantic love as well. With the King of Pentacles here, I have a feeling that you have to look at this situation as a long-term sort of thing, a long-term approach, a long-term solution, in the sense of trying not to beat yourself up when you do kind of recess back into old patterns and old behaviors and old ways of thinking. It's going to be something that's more of like a lifestyle and a long-term effort than a quick fix. And that King of Pentacles is just encouraging you to remind yourself of that along the way. The other thing about that King of Pentacles though, and with the Two of Swords reversed, is I think that this way of thinking is really leveling you up. It's giving you a feeling of maturity that is attracting the same towards you. So people around you are noticing that. You see your value here. And I think that that is a secondary effect. Some of you may have consciously chosen to do this because you felt people were taking advantage of you and making you seem like, you know, you weren't as much as you know you're worth. But for others of you, changing your communication is secondarily, you're making people more aware of how valuable your presence, your time, and your conversation is. Just because you're easy to talk to doesn't mean people can take that conversation for granted, you know? Like, I feel like that's interesting how people seem to turn to you or use their communication with you in a way that it felt like you were being used. With this Two of Swords reversed, if you're confused of what to do in a relationship or in a situation where communication's been tricky, you're going to know in July, and most of you are going to choose to just put an end to that difficult cycle and start fresh. That's what it feels like. Let's get some advice. What is the advice over here? This feels like a social situation that could have been very challenging too. Like for some of you, you may have been on difficult terms with a close friend, or you may have not been speaking to someone who you were usually very close with. And I see you putting an end to that cycle by getting social again, either with new people or being able to fix with that old person. But for those who felt betrayed and backstabbed by the person who wasn't really speaking to them, I don't see you taking that person back. I see you going good riddance and starting new friendships instead. So what is the advice here for Gemini with the Five of Swords? Okay, we have some third eye chakra energy here. So this card says, say thank you to others as often as you can. Say thank you to life. Say thank you to yourself. Gratitude allows you to trust life, and trust is the foundation for dreams to come true. So this situation has been calling for you to trust what you know you need to do, right? For some time. For some of you, you've delayed taking action in this area of your life because you could not trust that you would make the right decision, or you were too afraid of making the wrong one. You were too afraid of stepping into that unknown void of what if, and making the wrong decision. So your biggest advice here is to trust, but also there's this feeling of just being grateful of the fact that you are aware enough now to know better. You know, trying not to cling to, oh, I wish I had done this sooner, or I wish I would have learned that sooner in life, or if I could, I would change this. Like, you can't, but you still have time to live the way that you deserve to in these situations by making the changes that you can in your present for your future. And that's the vibe there, is being grateful for the fact that you became aware with this third eye chakra of what you needed to do when you were supposed to, if that makes sense. You can't change who you were in the past or how quickly this information came to your cone of awareness. So just take advantage of the fact that you know now. And in July, your goal here is to make those changes to ensure that you are letting the right kinds of emotional opportunities towards you, and that you are limiting the potential for betrayal, a feeling of backstabbing, and difficulties in connecting with people due to their lack of consistent or clear communication. So that's what I'm seeing over there with the Five of Swords. Very tricky situation, sweet. Some of you could be dealing with an earth sign that's very helpful. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, for example. But I just see that as you having a strong sense of self, standing up for yourself, building strong boundaries, and looking like someone who is more capable and secure in themselves, who has their ducks in a row, and who people can look at and go, wow, Gemini knows what they're worth. I'm not going to bother Gemini because I know Gemini knows what they're worth, and I'm not treating them the way that they deserve to be treated. So let's move on. Going to your second theme, we have the Nine of Cups, and this is really positive for you, especially. I know you've had a rough couple of months. So with this Nine of Cups upright, it feels like the main theme for you is putting your needs first and being aware of your needs, your emotional needs, and how people are giving that to you, how people are helpfully adding to that, and how they are detracting from that. So I see some of you having very healthy boundaries in July with certain people who you know how to push boundaries. For others of you and for most of you, this just feels really positive. This feels like you're doing what you want and you're focusing on what you want as well. Now, for some of you, you're actually getting a wish fulfillment here with that Nine of Cups. So let's get tarot and check that out. What is going on with that Nine of Cups for Gemini, please, Spirit? In July. What is going on with that Nine of Cups? We have the Seven of Cups coming out reversed. It nearly flipped over. What is going on with that Nine of Cups for Gemini? We have the Page of Swords reversed. This is you. That's my Gemini card, the Page of Swords. What is going on in July for Gemini, please, Spirit? That Nine of Cups. We have the King of Swords, so strong air sign energy. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. One more card. What is happening with that Nine of Cuppies? We have the Nine of Cups, clarifying the Nine of Cups. This one is in reverse, and at the back of the deck we have the Ten of Cups reverse. Spirit wants to show us the Hanged Man. So sweets, you know why this is a major theme? Because it's something that for some reason you struggle to do. I see some of you compromising your needs, your emotional needs, and what is emotionally appropriate for you in terms of emotional boundaries for certain family members specifically. Some of these are your children or your sister's children, or it just feels like it's a parent-family dynamic in terms of like you with your parents. It just feels like this is an ongoing issue, and it's being highlighted again in July, overstepping emotional boundaries and you learning how to have strong emotional boundaries. There is a need of focusing on you and getting what you want in a situation, but I see that in order to do that, you have to kind of make the line clear with somebody around you. Who is this person, Spirit? It could be a Pisces person or another air sign. But it just feels like this person is only focused on themselves, and this is not the first time that you've had this issue with them. They constantly have Gemini issues, Sagittarius, with recognizing what you deserve emotionally. So I see you going back around the bend with this person because you're afraid of leaving this connection behind. You guys need to learn how to communicate your feelings more to these people, though, to this key person especially. In this situation, it isn't a bit of an uphill battle. Is it worth it, Spirit? The Four of Pentacles reversed. It's interesting because it's not worth losing yet. But I see that some of you are clinging on to pennies here. You're literally holding on to the bare minimum. So in this situation, you guys are kind of like praising the bare minimum. I feel like you are going to learn more in July of what is best for you. And some of you are even going to go so far as to realize that you have not been treated well at all by certain key people in your life. And this is resurfacing again in July as a major issue, a major lesson, because you have the chance to right some wrongs for yourself here. You're showing up as victorious, but you're also showing up as naive. So take note of every piece of information. Don't dismiss it. Don't doubt yourself. You are constantly going to be doubting yourself and your feelings to the point where your healing is just one big loop. You're going back around the twist, back around the bend, and we're starting it all over again because these key people know how to get you into this place where you just can't trust how you feel, or you shut down emotionally, some of you, to the point where we're having to relive certain traumatic or triggering situations that aren't taking us anywhere special anytime soon. It feels like a very unfortunate situation, but we're going around the circle, around the bend again, repeating old emotional cycles. So I do see that this time around, you're going to be clearer on how this is all making you feel. You're not as confused anymore. In fact, you're very disappointed. You feel like, geez, again, that feeling from before of like, why didn't I realize this sooner? With the Nine of Cups reversed, you're going to realize what you need by essentially having to live with what you don't need. Something is delivered to you and it's very lackluster and it's very draining and it's very difficult because it's not at all about you. It's very emotionally dependent in the sense of somebody else is really depending on you. And it's making you go, wow, this is draining. Why am I not happy? Well, I've got an energy vampire in my life and they've disguised themselves as somebody who's supposed to take care of me or love me. And instead, they're just taking all the love from me. So what is the advice for Gemini with that Nine of Cups theme? What is the advice for Gemini with that Nine of Cups theme? We have some crown chakra energy. This is beautiful. This card's come out for a few signs. So if you think this reading has just been the tip of the iceberg, you could have messages in your other signs. Your sun, moon, rising is a good place to start. A lot of people would look at their Mercury or their Venus as well. This card says, you are special, Gemini. The most special you this world is ever going to see. Follow your bliss, walk your own path, and let your special talents shine bright for everyone to see. This confirms to me that this situation is very unique in the sense of it's also very personal, and it does impact your ability to know yourself and trust yourself. This situation has you doubting yourself and doubting what you deserve at times and how you deserve to be treated. When someone so close to you casts this kind of shadow or this kind of emotional dependence or this kind of manipulation and mind games for some of you, it really limits your ability to see yourself in such a special way, in such a unique way. And I feel that Spirit is just, with this advice, trying to remind you of how much more you deserve instead of clinging to pennies in this situation. So that's the second theme. Let's go on to your third theme with the Five of Wands here. This feels like a change in energy, but it also feels like the way that this comes about is quite, I want to say challenging, but I'm also feeling triggering. The thing about this Five of Wands is it's often a very competitive energy of feeling like there are so many people fighting for something that you have to be the loudest in the room to be seen. And before you know it, the energy is so tense and chaotic and just negatively charged to the point where it's basically a lose-lose situation, right? So the goal of that energy is to take the high road and remove yourself for the sake of peace, or to choose to let your actions speak louder than your words. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room to be seen. The quality of your effort is what will help you get to that Six of Wands victory. So let's have a look at how this is going to play out for you in the month of July. For Gemini, please, Spirit, what does that Five of Wands mean for Gemini? We have the Three of Swords in the reverse position. It's a beautiful card in this deck. What does that Five of Swords mean for Gemini in the month of July? Okay, we also have the Judgment card. Okay, I'm not surprised. We also have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. One more card. What does that Five of Wands mean for Gemini in July, please, Spirit? We also have the Eight of Cups. So interesting. You have a feeling of cycles about you. What's at the back of the deck? The High Priestess reversed. I literally can't make this up. The High Priestess reversed twice. You have this feeling of going around in cycles, and I see that this is a different kind of emotional experience. You haven't been put in a situation like this before. It's uncomfortable. It feels competitive and it feels argumentative. And it does feel like you guys are caught in the midst of somebody else's issues. So I do think that it's uncomfortable, but I see you guys finding a way to navigate the situation without taking on too much of the burdens. So what it reminds me of is, say somebody else has an issue with how they see themselves, or somebody else is going through a struggle, and you care about this person, or it would be very unhuman to not care. That's how bad it is, right? You can't hear of something like this and then turn a blind eye. It would make you look like a psychopath. But in this situation, it's also very, very damaging and detrimental to your own well-being for you to take on that person's burden and for you to fight their battle for them. So I see that in this situation, you're becoming aware of some sort of struggle around you, and you're having to not necessarily turn a blind eye with this Three of Swords reversed, but prioritize what pain is yours and what pain is somebody else's to heal. And this is a very interesting energy because it feels like you're trying to be more empathetic and understanding and compassionate, but you're also needing to be analytical enough to realize that I can't fix this situation for them. They have to do it for themselves. So it's an interesting mix to be in, Gemini, because it's making you more aware of how much time you need to give to yourself in July versus those around you. With the Judgment card upright, loss could be a part of the picture. Someone could have passed away close to you, and not you personally, but someone that you know could have lost somebody and they could be struggling with it. But the Judgment card is there to say that you're getting this epiphany, this awakening, this almost rude awakening. And it's telling you that in this situation, like, if you don't focus on yourself, you're essentially losing precious resources that you barely have for yourself on someone else who should be doing the same thing. They should just be focusing on themselves. I see you finding a way to separate yourself from someone enough for you to be able to get emotional clarity, as well as to focus on the other areas of your life that this situation has consumed. So this could be an ongoing situation for some of you. It could have started earlier in the year and it's just sort of snowballed into July. But for others of you, it's a lesson that you're being given in July especially to coax you into a position to receive more in the second half of the year. Spirit's kind of throwing you all these scenarios where they're like, test Gemini, test Gemini. Is Gemini ready to focus more on themselves? Is Gemini ready to detach from codependent energies? Because I see that there are a lot of people who seem to be leaning on you and you leaning on them. And I feel with this 9 of Pentacles reverse that some of you aren't yet ready for the big things that Spirit has in store for you, because you're still struggling to trust yourself without somebody else's sense of judgment saying, yes, Gemini, that's the right thing to do. No, Gemini, don't do that. So until you can fully trust yourself, Spirit's going to keep throwing you these little tests, these little moments, these challenges where it's up to you to juggle that energy and to figure out how to get on top of that by putting yourself first in a healthy, compassionate way. Still being empathetic, because I feel that that's also a big lesson you're going through, learning empathy and compassion, while also knowing, hey, here's the line in terms of my boundaries for myself. It's a very interesting energy. So let's get some closing advice for that. Is there anything else they need to know about that 5 of Wands? The Queen of Pentacles. I do feel some of you eventually getting into a position where you're so self-secure that you are eventually going to be responsible for others in some way. Getting to a point where you can manage quite a lot under you. This feels like in a workplace situation an increase in responsibility, but mostly it's just a feeling of stability and security, and I don't need to rely on anybody because I've got it made for myself. The 2 of Wands, you have a big decision coming up. July is going to be a big month of change to help prepare you for your next journey. That 5 of Wands reverse. So the goal is to actually uncomplicate your life, to declutter the chaotic energy that you've been inviting in, other people's problems, other people's issues, to be able to focus more on you and stability for you. Yes, they really want you to focus on stability for you. So what is the advice with that 5 of Wands for Gemini in July? We have heart chakra energy. This card says, don't do as you planned, do as you feel. Write in your heart, practice listening to your heart again and again, learn its language. So Spirit is really encouraging you to feel, to stay connected to your intuition, not just your empathy. Feeling from your heart chakra can often cause more problems when you're healing for yourself, because you're involving yourself in other people's stories. Remember, you can have sympathy for someone without going through their tragedy with them in an empathetic way. And when you are naturally empathetic or intuitive, it can be very draining learning the difference between the two, empathy versus sympathy. It's about showing a genuine compassion through sympathy without taking on their trauma, their pain with empathy, and putting your needs first. So Spirit is saying, don't do as planned, do as you feel. I do see that this Judgment card in July is going to make some pretty big changes down the road for you. Once you become more aware of the situation and of what hasn't been working and of what has been causing unnecessary drama and conflict in your life, you're going to find it very difficult to walk away, because I think that part of your physical world is intertwined with that drama. For some of you, this is again a relationship, but for others of you, this is some sort of cycle that you found yourself in, and walking away from it to secure your personal success is going to be a huge, huge step. I see some of you making that step in July, but for others of you, you're just setting yourself up to take that step in the future. Do what is right in your heart. Practice listening to your heart again and again. Learn its language. Trust, 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 trust yourself, sweet pea. Know yourself. So that's what I see for you, Gemini, when it comes to your July predictions reading. Remember, it is a general reading, so if anything does not resonate, don't force it to fit. Don't let it take from you. You may have messages in your other signs, especially if this didn't resonate 100%, as I mentioned at the beginning of your reading. Now, thank you so much for your energy and your time, Gemini. I wish you a prosperous and abundant month ahead, and I shall connect with you in another video. Bye!